Okay, here we go. Hello and welcome to the Hanging Out with Musicians podcast. I'm Ben Brown,
I'm Megan Simper.
and welcome home. This is the podcast where we spend good quality intentional time with our musician friends so that you can enjoy them too. Today we're joined with Eric. Today joins us is Eric Shed from Birds of Prey. Birds of
Play. Birds
Play.
of
Yes,
play.
of course. Ah, welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Um,
Thanks. It's great to be here.
Today this is gonna be pretty unique because this is done live. We've done lots of these, but they are locked away in a vault, waiting to be sent, waiting to be made public. And so this is the first time we are in like a live stream situation. Anyway, it's gonna be different, and we're not gonna really engage with chat, even though um, that's a great like habit to have while streaming, and maybe we'll talk about streaming, maybe we'll not, but today right now is about Eric, interviewing him and letting you guys like fall in love with this guy.
Oh,
Megan, you want to lead us in the first thing that we usually do?
Yeah. So we usually start with a little segment called Ben and Meg's Get Centered. And we like to just kind of take a moment and like put down in our minds whatever is running around so we can focus on listening and being together and hanging out and just like, you know. But we like to kind of invite guests to share if you, Eric, have any like centering techniques that you use, either like before recording or before performing or just in your general life to feel grounded, to feel present, if you would feel comfortable sharing something like that with us, maybe we could do that together.
yeah. I've been on and off with meditation practice in my life, and it's the one benefit of quarantine world right now is I've been very regular with it for the past chunk of days. Um, I like to just find my breath and focus on sensations in my body. I think helps me a lot to maintain my yeah, because sometimes it's a tricky thing as I've recently made the shift to wanting to be treating music as more of a career as opposed to like yeah this fun thing that I do sometimes was there was times that I would not like if I was other picking up my guitar that I wouldn't play or whatever instrument, and if I wasn't feeling it right then I just wouldn't play. I was just like nah, I'm not feeling it right now, I'll put it down. And I was realizing I kind of made this shift in my mind. I was like, oh, wait a minute, if I'm going to try to do this for a living, there's going to be days that I get up in front of people to play that I'm not feeling it and I'm not feeling inspired or energized. And I've got to find ways to find my center through that and to find my musicality through
Mm.
not feeling as centered as I would like to feel.
Mm.
Um, so that was an interesting shift to like just to find that. So yeah, it's about I like to just I don't know if I have any specific breathing exercises or anything that I do, but just paying attention to my body and honoring how I'm feeling so that I can like I got to be where I am before I can get where I'm going. Sort of
Mm.
idea, if that makes
Ugh,
sense. Like
yeah.
I have to understand how that I feel discomfort or feel nervous or feel whatever so that I can move through it as opposed to try to move around it or away from it.
Nice. I like that. Well, maybe we can just take a moment together and just kind of independently and as a stream, whoever's listening, to just um feel our breath, feel our body, be where we are.
That's
Yeah, that's
nice.
good. Just like a joining
Yeah.
the moment as it
Thank
is.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Getting
That's
in this
good.
space. Huh.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. I like starting that way.
Yep.
Um. So where are
So
you at right now,
where
Eric?
am I at currently? I'm in
Yeah.
a little town called Ophir, Colorado, and it's It's a small community of about 150 people that's close to Telluride, Colorado. This community itself is just a little bedroom community. There's no businesses or anything here, and people live here and work in Telluride.
Okay.
Yeah, about 10,000 feet. It's currently blowing like 30 to 40 miles an hour outside and snowing.
Mhm.
It's wintering out there pretty heartily.
Oh, really? Is this where you live, where you're from? Like, or did you get
I'm
caught out on tour? Because that's my understanding is that you're very active, moving around.
We have been pretty active. Thankfully, we got home.
Okay.
We weren't just stuck somewhere out in the middle
Yeah.
amidst
Mhm.
all of this. But we are, yeah. No, this is where I've lived. I've only lived here for since mid-December though, and it's late March right now. So I haven't lived in this location a ton, but I've spent a lot of time here before because one of my band members. I'm now moved in with one of my band members. But I'm originally
Yeah.
from Idaho, and have lived a bunch of different places around the West.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. That Midwest, as people refer to it.
Do they?
Is it Midwest or is it
I guess I
no?
would think of the
I
Midwest is further like more Iowa, even though it's not west at all, like Iowa, like flatland country. I've lived in the
oh,
Yeah.
mountain west, they would
Yeah.
okay.
call it
The Mountain
Intermountain
West.
West.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
can be wrong. I'm from the South, but like Texas South, not Louisiana South, or
yeah.
I guess Florida isn't South. It's just Florida. If that's right. It's like Georgia's South and
Florida's just
Florida's Florida.
Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's like
Yeah.
you don't. Alaska's not north. Alaska's Alaska. Florida's Florida,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
and then
West
there's the rest of us.
is the mountains, and then okay, Midwest. Okay, West is if like you're sitting in Pennsylvania and you're like the people in the Midwest. That kind of area.
Yeah, it's like Midwest never made sense to me. It's like midway to the West. It's like Iowa
Oh, okay.
and
You find
Iowa
Yeah.
and Wisconsin is that's the Midwest to me.
I
And then
think so.
once you get
Yeah.
here, it's like this is like the Intermountain West, and then there's the
uh,
West Coast.
Yeah.
interesting.
That's how I feel. Yeah.
Huh.
Geography was never my strong suit.
No, I got D's in my geography. Well, I got D's in U.S. geography. I got hundreds in global geography. So okay. So you're. I guess it sounds like you're wintered in, snowed in with a roommate. And I
Yeah,
just
well, which is luckily one of my bandmates, which is makes it
yeah.
nice to have that outlet here
Oh yeah.
during our quarantine world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of wanted to reference that because it's like this podcast will be going up in the future. And so, yeah, the scenario that we're currently in is this quarantine the great
Yeah,
quarantine of 2020.
totally. We're about 8 days into a shelter in place order here,
Okay.
and yeah, I drove my car for the first time in a chunk of days yesterday, and it felt so weird to just go to the post office to check my PO
Uh,
box because I've been just hanging out.
Hmm.
It's a really unique world out there for musicians, especially. Well, for everybody, but not for musicians, especially for everybody. But as a
mm,
touring musician, like trying to figure out, trying to plan right now is really challenging. It's like, well, we would like to plan more tour, but we had to cancel our whole Colorado tour. We're supposed to be all through April cruising around Colorado, and that's not happening
yeah,
now. Um, so
man.
trying to figure out how to navigate this new and different reality.
Yeah, it's quite a yeah, yeah. I don't know if anybody really knows what's next.
Hmm.
But
No,
yeah,
every
I
day
guess
it's
I
every day
oh,
something new comes up, and it's like,
It's true.
I just wanted to um yeah, I wanted to plug up front the like that you guys are live streaming and doing some of those things like that. Um yeah, so like your Facebook, so you're live streaming with your 2/3 of Birds of Prey. I am so sorry.
play.
Birds of Play.
It's okay. It's a common mistake. It's a common mistake. And actually, people ask me like, "Why do you think I'm feeling about that movie, Birds of Prey?" I was like,
Yeah,
"I don't like it because it's messing up all our Google
it
results.
is. Yeah,
Google
it's messing up
autocorrects
things.
our thing to Birds of Prey, and they look at Harley Quinn. It's like that's not us."
Or Birds of Play live streaming, and then
Yeah.
I don't want to get to that, but maybe we start like with where you've come from and like what your background is. How'd you get started in music? What was your growing up time like?
So I remember taking some piano lessons when I was like 7 or something like that for a couple months, and I enjoyed it, but it didn't like stick really. I didn't really grow up in a musical household. Neither of my parents play music. Not really any of my family members play anything. So I kind of came to it on my own and got a guitar from a friend when I was 12, um, with the initial goal of learning guitar so that I could play bass, and then got a bass. And I think the first time I started to play organized music other than just jamming out on Nirvana songs with friends at their house was I had a friend of mine was playing bass in the jazz band in high school, and he said they didn't have a guitar player, and he wanted someone to talk to in the rhythm section, which is funny to think about now as I'm thinking about rehearsals. I'm like, I don't want, if I was teaching, I was like, I don't want them to just be talking. But he's like, I want someone to hang out with in the rhythm section. So I tried out for jazz band, and that was my first exposure to organized music, and that was a blast. And
Yeah.
that was what year? Junior year of high school.
Okay.
And then from then it just started to ramp up. And I played in concert band, started playing some percussion stuff in concert band, and we had a little jazz combo. It's funny to look back on it now and think like, oh, we didn't know anything. We were in high school. We like had this jazz combo, but none of us were really knew what we were doing. Um, but it was fun, and we played out some. And then I didn't know what I was going to go to college for, and I was kind of under the idea that, well, why would I go spend all this money to go to college if I don't know what I'm going to do?
Hmm.
I got good grades in school. It wasn't like that. Well, it wasn't like school wasn't my thing. I just didn't know what I wanted to go do.
Yeah.
And I decided to go to school for music education up at University of Idaho in Moscow, Idaho. I grew up in Idaho, um,
Hmm.
and that was such a fun time. Um, I It's funny to look back on it now and think what I would be getting out of it now had I had perhaps the study skills and the drive now that I didn't maybe have then. You know, when you're 18, it's your first time away from home. You sometimes have some other priorities maybe than all your scholarly pursuits. But it was just, I think about how kind of the nature of that school, and I've heard that other music schools are different, but the nature of that one is that people would get involved in tons of ensembles. It wasn't like, oh, I just play an orchestra, or I just play in this, I just play in that. There's one large rehearsal space that all the large ensembles rehearsed in. So the nature of that was that they never rehearsed at the same time. So you could be in many ensembles because their rehearsals didn't overlap.
Yeah.
And so I just think about how many different groups I was playing music with in college, and it was amazing. I would be singing at any given time. I'd be working on my solo repertoire stuff and singing in two choirs and playing in percussion ensemble and playing in jazz band and playing in orchestra and playing in marching band, like all of these things all simultaneously. And just
Wow.
how I think about how hard that would be to put together logistically now in life, to be playing in like six different ensembles, 6, 7 ensembles.
Man. Yeah, that really gives you the time to like shed. Like you hear about like just the needing to get hours in. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
And
yeah. Go ahead.
oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh
You go
yeah.
first.
It just seems like a universal law that it's like if you're good at something, you get to do more of it. especially if it's like in a public kind of place. Like you hear this about like hockey players. If you're good at it, you get to do more of it and get better at it. And so it's like that's just an awesome thing to do. It's just dive in and just get better by doing. And so that's awesome.
Right.
I had a great time in music school too. Uh, like, but it wasn't that well organized, or at least didn't have that constraint. I would have never thought the constraint of like having one rehearsal room would actually allow for more playing opportunities. That's neat.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it until I talked to some other people who went to perhaps some larger music schools. And I think we had a great program. I mean, I'm so grateful for the instruction that I got there. And some larger programs that they have an orchestra room, and they have a concert band room, and they have a jazz band room. And so, like, again, all those rehearsals would happen at the same time. It'd be like noon, it's like large ensemble rehearsal time. Everyone would go to their specific large ensembles as opposed to playing in all the different ones.
Mm.
And I think, I mean, to add just the hours part, but I think one of the most beautiful things about that was so much experience playing with people. And
Mhm.
that's,
Mm-hmm.
gosh, that's one of the biggest things that I think about when I'm like, what has made me the musician that I am today is playing with a lot of people, and
Okay.
and finding pocket with large groups of people, and figuring out how to find that blend, and also having teachers that would not let you get away with it,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
not let you get away
Okay.
with not
Yeah.
being on it.
Man,
Mhm.
that's good
One of
advice.
my
Like
Yeah, just
you're
play with
nailing
more
it,
people. But
advice, Eric. It's so good.
what's that?
You're nailing it with the advice. It's so good.
Mhm.
Just playing with a lot of
Here, I want to
people.
share. I want to share a piece while we're talking about advice
Oh
from
yeah,
school.
yeah, yeah.
Is uh, Dan Buckvich, who's a fantastic professor, and I've learned so much from him. I studied percussion. I started as a guitar major in college and realized I didn't really want to play classical guitar, and then asked if I could join the percussion studio, and had solid enough chops anyway that they let me in. And so Dan Buckfitz was the teacher of that, but he also taught a couple of the choirs that I was in, and he taught percussion ensemble, and he taught music theory and aural skills, so like sight listening and singing and rhythms and harmonies and stuff. And so we'd have these music theory assignments where you had to write out these huge charts that were all of the major scales and minor scales and all the accidentals and just how it all related and what notes changed when you went to harmonic minor, melodic minor.
Mm-hmm.
Huge assignments that was just repetitive by rote, like, here, learn your circle of fifths, just by write it down every day. And so these assignments would have 500 points, and so you could miss a chunk of things and still get an A.
Okay.
And
Mhm.
he sat down in front of class one day and he said, I'm going to play the Star Spangled Banner. It's so funny to know him now because he's so warm and caring, but at the time he kind of has this, he puts on a little bit of an like intimidating, serious tone to him. So you were like, well, okay. Like he has a lot of tricks to make you pay attention and get it.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't mess around. But so he sat down and he played the Star Spangled Banner for us, and with some very obvious wrong notes, including like ending a half step sharp, just single notes on the piano, just Star Spangled Banner, with some very obvious wrong notes. And to this room full of, it was music theory, so it was a room full of music majors, people that are trying to make their career out of music. And he stopped and he said, I just played the Star Spangled Banner. I played has 111 notes. I played 9 wrong notes. I got an A.
Yeah.
And he looked at it and said, I got an A. And we're all just like, he's like, I think a lot of you are just a little too happy with your 95s on your assignments.
Oh,
Ouch.
wow. Yeah.
It was just like, oh.
That's deep. That went deep. Went very deep. That's great.
That one is stuck with me.
Yeah, it would. That's such a man. Yeah,
It's like, I
I've
got
had
an A. Oh, that was the other thing he said. He said, I got an A. How did it sound?
mm,
Just like,
yeah, yeah.
ooh. Especially like ending on the wrong note. It was just like, oh yeah.
Oh man. I've also
Yeah.
had teachers or Megan, do you have did you ever have a somebody like that in your life, Megan? I can definitely think of I know I can think of the specific teachers that like I showed up to their room and it was like I'm just used to writing off of my like, oh yeah, it's like I'm smart and I can show up and I can play stuff and like I can just get by. It's like, but like whenever I met the teachers that were like, no, it's like, okay, take this back. It's like it was okay, but you got to do better for me. It's like that was huge.
Yeah,
Did you have that
totally.
experience, Megan? Uh,
I did. I was a pill as a student. I was such a pill.
what does that
I didn't
mean?
respond to that very well. And you
Uh,
know, I responded more to inspiration um rather than like just like I don't know. Like it didn't like I was inspired when it sounded good and when I was interested. I'm a terrible example. I was really a pill. Like I wanted to do what I wanted to do.
hmm.
And maybe that continues to be true. But but I feel embarrassed about my own attitude in music school because I think I
Well,
let a lot of opportunities like that pass me by.
Hmm.
Um, just because I was stubborn and prideful. So
Huh.
yeah.
Opportunities is in like opportunities to learn from okay,
Opportunities
okay.
to learn and get better and like engage in education in that way. So
Interesting.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's a fine line. Music school, like keeping your musicality and creativity through the whole thing while you're like learning all this information and
Right.
um, needing to like have assignments, like needing to have music placed in a way that it can be judged and graded, and your knowledge and ability with it judged and graded for the purpose of academics. It's a it's a there's a narrow edge of like getting over that. Did you uh Eric, it sounds like that you were pretty into it, like good at school and into what was going on. Did you have what would I even call it? There's like the moment after I was done that like I didn't touch a guitar for months. Like when I graduated, I just like picked up like I graduated with a guitar performance degree and I just like picked up piano and like computer stuff, and this is like I'm just done. It's like no thank you.
well, that's a tricky thing for me because I was a percussion major in school, and I was an education major, and then I was a performance major,
Yeah.
and then I was an ecology conservation biology major for a little bit for a semester, and then I went back to applied music, but I didn't end up getting a degree in music. I ended up getting a degree in general studies
Oh.
through a loophole that they've now closed. Um, but I studied
Awesome.
music. I was kind of in this place where I'm like, well, I'm still, because there's this thing called junior standing
Hmm.
where you have to be able to do these things at this certain, like for it's a lot of scales and just like, can you show this level of like some, it's scales and stuff and rhythm stuff. So it's like, can you show this level of proficiency at your instrument
Okay.
at X level
We'd have
before you can, then you have to take what, 4 semesters of lower division lessons, pass your junior standing, take 4 semesters of upper division.
Mm.
I was pretty close
okay.
on everything else, but I hadn't passed my junior standing. And so I still was like 2 years of time away from a music degree
Mm.
because I
Okay.
didn't, because marimba scales are hard.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's an
Percussion.
excuse, but
Wow.
they're
Percussion.
hard.
Yeah. Percussion would have
uh,
kicked my butt.
Percussion kicked my, I mean, and parts of it I love. I mean, I love the timpani. So you talk about like instruments that you played and then put down. Like I
Hmm.
was, if there was an instrument that I leaned into the hardest, I think in percussion was timpani.
Really?
I love playing the timpani.
Like having all three of those big things all on you, and you have the big
Well,
foam
3 or
toothpicks or
5
big
big foam
ear
toothpicks.
not toothpicks, but the earwax things, Q-tips,
Earwax.
Q-tips.
Yeah, big foam, big
Sorry,
Q-tips,
I'm not good with
just for
words.
really big ears.
I don't know why I'm here.
um,
Wow.
but I haven't played timpani since college. Really,
Yeah.
it's hard to own a set of timpani.
Hmm.
I mean, it's feels
Hmm.
silly enough. I own an upright bass, but to own a set of timpani, geez.
Yeah. What is your focus now? So yeah, you have an upright acoustic bass in the stream. This won't be, well, maybe this will be, maybe I'll find some way to put it integrate to the podcast, but on the stream we've got this awesome picture of you leaping in the air with your acoustic bass under your arm in this like
Yeah,
beautiful
base jumping.
yes,
Base jumping.
bass
That's
jumping.
out in Canyonlands National Park.
Okay, I would have guessed Utah. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
What other
yeah, I
instruments do
currently
you
have an
got?
upright bass, and I play upright bass, and acoustic guitar and mandolin are probably my focus, are
Acoustic
what I'm focusing on right now. Mostly in the
mandolin.
band, I play upright bass, mainly because I am the most proficient at the upright bass in the band. One of my other band members, Alex, plays it some, so I can pick up mandolin and guitar a little bit. Um, and we'd like to have that more, have him play more, so that I more upright bass, so that I can play more other things, because I really like those as well. That's my hardest thing right now. It's like, what do you focus on? I'm like, that's a great question. I have them all sitting here, and I'm like, what do I play? What do I practice? All of them, all the time. But it
Okay.
is,
Yeah.
a lot of it does transfer. Like mandolin and guitar,
Mm.
getting my fingers moving, and like that transfers pretty well. Upright bass
Mm.
is its own beast. Yeah, so
Do
that's
you,
what I'm playing mostly right now. Those instruments. I did
okay.
just borrow an electric bass from a friend though, and I've been taking advantage of my quarantine
Hmm.
to to get my electric bass chops up again too, because that's an
Cool.
instrument that I've really enjoyed playing a lot in the past.
Cool. So I have a question for you, Eric, because this is something that I've found playing and specifically writing music on different instruments is that different things will come out and on depending on the instrument that I'm playing, different ideas and just a different even tone or approach that I enjoy that. And I wonder if you find, because you write music.
I wish I wrote more. I need to, I that's something that I want to have a bit more of a, what's the word, more structure around.
Okay.
I I I like creating. I have the most fun when I'm like helping somebody else flesh out something, because the pressure on is not as much on me to
Okay.
create the
Cool.
whole idea, as the excitement comes from like adding color and shifting feel, playing around
Mm,
with little things and cleaning things up. Like that's where I have a lot of fun doing that.
cool.
But yeah, totally, I do agree with you. Like there's that's the best excuse to buy another guitar at any point, because or another instrument, because different guitars will bring out different types of playing for me.
Yeah.
Even the same instrument with just a different tone and a different feel of the neck. Like I will play
Hmm.
different things when I pick up a different instrument.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you noticed? I mean, it sounds like you most get a chance to do that with upright bass, guitar, and mandolin. And what do you find in the flavors of those? Like, what do those bring out in you typically in your playing?
I'm the most comfortable playing melodic lead stuff on mandolin. Um, there's just the nature of how that instrument's laid out for me under my hands is, I've been playing it more, and also just that all the patterns repeat everywhere, because
Hmm.
all the strings intervals are the same.
Mm-hmm.
I feel much more fluid moving around on a mandolin, uh, melodically, than on anything else.
Yeah.
And I guess in the same way, a bass, even like this electric bass that I'm playing around on, because all the intervals are the same and the pattern is the same the whole way up. I feel a lot more free, as opposed to on guitar, which you've got that one major third interval in the strings that just the patterns don't repeat quite as well.
It's a big deal. It's a big
So
deal.
it's a big deal. They
I
put
could
this
go
little,
I could go on and on about that.
the little sneaky middle part of the guitar.
Yeah.
I remember playing bluegrass tunes. It was like I first tried to learn some fiddle tunes on guitar, and they just didn't make sense. They were just hard, and I didn't understand. I was like, God, these things are so hard. And then I picked them up on a mandolin, which is a fiddle, strung with the tune the same and everything. And I was like, oh, that's why people wrote these tunes. They're fiddle tunes. They make sense on this layout of strings.
I think that's actually a huge point, that like music is made because of the instrument that it's on. Like, it's like piano. It's like you can't play 12 notes on the guitar, or you can't play 10 notes on the guitar. You only got 6.
Yeah.
But like piano regularly uses all of your hands, and like doing multiple half steps all together in like clusters. It's like that's very piano.
Oh,
That can't be guitar.
Yeah.
You can't do it. Like
it can't be guitar.
And so and
the nature of all the strings in piano too, like the nature, especially with the sus pedal down, the way that you're getting all the overtones ringing, like cluster chords on guitar, on piano sound good. Cluster chords on guitar, even if you do crazy stretchy fingerings, cluster chords on guitar sound kind of funny. They don't work as well. They kind of, if you roll the tone way back and you're on electric and stuff, you can do some things and they sound okay. But just on a straight up dreadnought, they sound weird.
There we go. Wow, getting into it. That's some deep stuff. That's deep
beautiful.
water right there, Eric.
That's feeding my inner dorkiest musician right now.
Perfect. That's
So
what this
good.
is for. Music for instrument dorks.
Love that.
Or food for dorks.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
But yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, I was actually just right before we sat down for this podcast, I was listening to Michael League from Snarky Puppy.
We got to talk about Snarky Puppy. We got to talk about Snarky Puppy. We got
talk about Snarky Puppy.
Yeah.
Sassy Lassie.
Who is Snarky Puppy for those the uninitiated?
Who is I don't see the people who are like true Snarky Puppy heads are going to listen to my explanation and be like, you don't know. I don't. No, I'm a casual Snarky Puppy fan. It appeals to the music geek in me. They're just this killer jazz fusion group that is probably some of the premier musicians in their all in there for their individual instruments, and they do a lot of wild polyrhythm stuff, and just the composition it's really cool to listen to, and grooves really hard. It's like just a bunch of groovy, jazzy, funky stuff in weird time signatures, but you don't notice they're in weird time signatures until you stop to count it. Like you're still just bobbing right along with it. And you're like, oh, that's in 7.
Okay.
Cool.
Oh, that's an achievement.
And it's a totally achievement. Like Michael League is the bass player, but also composes most of their stuff, if not all, probably most. And hearing him talk about composition, he's doing this because they can't tour right now either. He's doing this series of what do you call them? Live stream masterclass things. Yeah. And and so he's talking about taking this specific tune, like it was. I forgot the name of it today, but anyway.
Yeah, I gotta get on those. That's such a.
They're awesome. So check them out. They're doing one every day.
Okay. Just off their YouTube, or
it's on.
Or like through the website.
I'll send it to you.
Okay, yeah.
If you look up Snarky Puppy, masterclasses.
We're not talking about Snarky Puppy.
I think.
We're talking about Eric today.
But one of the things he was talking about was writing for your instrument, writing whatever instrument you're. Like as you're composing, writing for the instrument. He's like, there's these cool things you can do on guitar where you can like hold one shape on the low strings and let all the upper strings ring out and move that around. So it creates these like wild sus chord voicings, but you don't have to name them because it's just like that. That's like one of the main strengths of guitar is that kind of thing. And I love using open strings when I'm playing guitar and having that all ring out. And So yeah, just to echo the same thing you were talking about, like what instrument you're
Yeah.
composing on or for is going to help to dictate how you like what the music does.
Yeah. So I'm curious also.
Got a little bit of
Oh.
noise coming in.
Yeah, that's a special
We'll
noise.
have
That's
to
a noise.
take a second
I'm gonna
to
test a thing.
understand
Hold on one
that.
second.
Oh, I guess that is maybe a Megan. Do 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 do. This is the waiting music.
I don't know what to tell you. I just changed the thing that I thought it was, and it wasn't it. So.
Did the heater just turn on?
No, I just turned off the heater actually.
Oh.
Let's see.
We already had like some massive improvements. When you changed some of the power stuff.
Did I? Oh, just from yesterday. Did you?
Yeah.
I really appreciate this gentle music. Wow.
More cluster chords. More cluster
More
chords.
cluster chords. I don't really know. Could you name some? I'm a guitar player, man. I use piano for.
All right, stopped. We're back.
Okay, cool. Interesting.
Cool. All right.
Well, I'm going to inquire about power things downstairs whilst recording.
Do you think maybe he unplugged?
I'm in an old house, dude.
You are in an old house. Oh, I see. Yeah. You should chat.
The wiring is just
folks.
weird. Yeah.
That's fun. I think I'm going to take this time to note that this will be released as a podcast, the HOWMcast, HOWMcast. Our friend is back.
Yeah.
And in that sense, it will be edited and it will have higher quality because we will be combining. Each of us is recording separately on microphones in our own respective places.
Very techy.
And then we're gonna combine it together, and so it'll be nice, easy listening in the future. But right now is like a big experiment. Everything is new and everything is turning internet, and so it's totally fine to have these little things.
Oh yeah. It's all good.
I in risking actually finding something interesting and needing to put it into the podcast, Eric, do you have things? We've talked a lot about music.
There's a risk.
Yeah, there's a risk here. We talked a lot about music. Can you tell me some other is there other things that you just like absolutely adore, absolutely love?
Aside from music.
Yeah, what's some other things that have taken up your time in the quarantine?
Oh, in the quarantine. Well, the quarantine music is the thing that's keeping me sane.
Really? Okay.
That's like but I love skiing, and I'm lucky to live in a place where I can go backcountry skiing right from my back door, which is awesome.
Wow.
But that's a weird thing to do right now too, because.
Oh, really? I would have. I mean, my first inclination was to like go to the woods.
Yeah, well, going to the woods doesn't seem like such a horrible thing. It's more that risk, right? Like somebody just got caught in an avalanche actually a couple days ago here, and like we're all supposed to do social distancing, and but like 30 people responded to this rescue, and we're helping this guy who was hurt, and he's now taking up a hospital bed. Like there's yeah, and I think he's going to be okay from everything I've heard. But yeah,
it's kind of like in a similar way where it's like, even though you might not be in risk of like having any consequences of getting the virus, your actions can affect other people. And in the same way, like doing like cross country things and then getting into trouble means other people have to expose themselves.
Mm.
Yeah, other people have to expose themselves to you, and they all have to respond, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
and then you're putting
So
yourself into a
tricky.
medical environment where
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
probably more
Yeah.
likely to be infected as much as the doctors and nurses are doing all their best things. So
Mm-hmm.
it's an interesting balance. Like I'm definitely taking it super easy when I go out and get exercise. Like
Do you go hard? Do you go hard when you go outside for the like sports and cross country?
for the sports, I would say I go medium. Do you go
Okay, okay.
hard, bro? I um well I
Uh,
I would say that one of the things, I mean, just to bring it back to the band, sort of, it's all connected. Is that
mhm,
that
mhm.
we one of the things I love about being in the band with who I'm in the band with is they're really
Birds
close
of
friends of mine, and they
birds of
also
play.
the Birds of Play is the
Mhm.
band, and we play, and we both all three of us ski at a similar level, and all three of us mountain bike at a similar level, and we
Yeah.
try to
Yeah.
book our tours around that as well, so that we get to go be active, and it's easier in the summertime because it's easier to find a you can find a quick mountain bike trail and go for a couple hour ride and go
Okay.
hop in a lake and take a bird bath, as we call it,
Oh my
to
gosh.
I love your life,
uh,
Eric.
it's not too bad.
Wow.
But it's also funny to think about, like, we don't like ride slow. And
Okay,
it's like
yeah,
weird
yeah,
to
yeah.
think about, like, oh, one of us falls and breaks their wrist, like, well, tour is over. But
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know. It's
Oh,
Mm.
also,
fascinating. Huh.
yeah, it's a weird thing to think about
Living on the
where that
living on the
Mm.
edge. So I guess
living on the edge and
wintertime,
like,
wintertime, you're probably mostly like trying to find gigs that are around the mountains. Is that right?
I mean, we're trying not to limit ourselves to that. I mean,
Hmm.
it also helps that right now we're at the early enough stage of the things where we're definitely going to places that we know some people, and have places to stay, so that we can start to bring a crowd out and start to yeah, and have a place to slay, because we
Hmm.
would not make any money if we all of a sudden had to pay for hotels. So
Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
and so, and those places tend to be where just the nature of how we've lived our lives, and tend to be in these beautiful mountain towns where there's recreation as well. So win-win.
Yes, absolutely win-win.
That's great.
Wow. How yeah, can you like maybe unfold maybe how you've gotten yourself into the situation? Let's see, how do I want to say this? Maybe Megan can help me out with a question. Like how you found maybe these people to stay with, maybe even how you approach them, like how are you finding these particular gigs that like integrate this life
Oh, like,
of outdoor
Mm.
sports and music touring. Like that's such a great marriage.
Yeah.
How
it's
did that
great.
get
Yeah, I
going?
feel really lucky. It's funny now, right now, that we're actually having some more time. I think, like, our Instagram, which is a necessary evil in this world of music,
Yes.
is used to much more look like we were friends that went skiing and mountain biking and occasionally played music. And so now that we've actually had some downtime in quarantine world, that we're all like, oh, our Instagram kind of looks like we're a band now. That's cool. It's not just
Yeah.
pictures of us mountain biking, but it's just all of us have lived in that world, um, of, like, Alex was a semi-pro skier for a while, so was Jack.
Whoa.
I've been a river guide for a lot of years, so we have a lot of connections in those communities. So it's easier to for us to
Hmm.
go and just get a hold. When we were booking our first tour, we're finally now caught up, especially since who knows what's bookings going like forward from now. But like,
Mm.
initially, we booked our first tour just kind of on like a month and a half notice, which if anybody who's tried to do booking knows that that is not very much time
Okay.
to
Hmm.
try to find places that let us play,
Hmm.
or just have openings, and let alone that we didn't have any sort of media or anything like that. Like, hey, we're good, trust us. But we
What is
did that.
what's a
It was
good
just
amount of time to
cold call.
have whenever you're trying to tour? That question just kind of
It's
that was
6 months, I would say, 6 months
6
or more.
months. Oh,
I mean,
really? So
some of the
you can
larger venues.
okay.
Yeah, and festivals book like I'm
Mhm.
learning this all as I'm doing it. Festivals book like almost right after the last one happened.
Okay.
They start.
Mhm.
They
Gotcha.
start. And also and like trying to figure out how to get in with some booking agents and figuring out all that jam. It's we're getting there,
Yeah.
but it's been a lot of cold calls and a lot of emails and a lot of emails with no response. And because if you send
Okay.
someone an email, they're getting hundreds of emails about dates. And if you send them an email with a date in there that's like a date that they already have, they're not going to send you an email back. They don't have time to answer every
Mhm.
email.
Nah.
So it's
Ah.
we're figuring it out.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's I mean that's really like good illuminating stuff. Hmm.
And so like we were way behind. And one of the things I really like about this band and is that we're pretty versatile. We can play. We really like to do house shows and acoustic. Like I think we shine the most in sort of an acoustic sit down listening environment
Okay.
because all the songs have stories with them
Ah.
and that's and we can tell the stories and really connect with people. I think that's a strength of ours. Um,
Hey.
but at the same time, we can play. We've got some more upbeat stuff and throwing some more upbeat covers in there, and can hold down a dancier night if people want to
Hmm.
really stomp and holler. I don't know if we're the right band for that, but
Huh. The
it's
those
I
kind
like the versatility. So we can like
okay, yeah.
fill in house shows. Like we've had a couple as we're on tour, even filling in dates like a couple days past, a couple days like in front of us. Like, oh, someone wants to host a house show. Sweet, we can. They can get like 20 people over there, and they all buy a CD, and we make some money that night.
Yeah, heck yeah. Those those descriptions they sound really well like they can integrate well with live streaming. I was talking to
Yeah,
Megan
Yeah,
just yesterday
I was
about
just about
how
to ask.
oh yeah, yeah. And I guess I want it's like how um uh the question at the end of this I'll ask a question at the end, but like I really think like live streaming is most marked by its intimacy. It's really quite intimate. Like you're bringing people into your house. Like I think I would compare it to just like a small house show. And in like what you were describing, like yeah, playing a song and then
Mhm.
talking about it, and then even like being able to interact and go back and forth is like it sounds like you guys are kind of ready for that. Like it seems like you guys, Birds of Play on Facebook would be a great place to be watching musicians live and uh, stream. Have you? Has that been your experience?
Mhm.
How have you felt about live streaming so far?
um, I. It's weird. It's hard to. I have to. It requires me to engage my imagination and my trust that we're
Hmm.
connecting with people because to put the energy in without the feedback from the crowd
Mm-hmm.
is it feels a lot more one-sided. And I know they're there and I know they're listening and we see the appreciation, we see comments, and it's different. It's challenging um,
Yeah.
to remember how like because I'm talking to a phone. I'm talking to a phone on a tripod when I'm
Mhm.
and like this feels different because I'm engaging with you in real time and I'm hearing your voices come back at me. And I'm again same thing.
Mhm.
I'm talking to my phone on a tripod,
Yeah.
but uh, it it's weird. Both of the times we've only done 2 live streams so far, and both of the times we've kind of warmed up about halfway through, just like realizing that
Hmm.
how like
Mm.
letting ourselves have fun and letting ourselves emote out there. So it's
Nice.
it's tricky.
Yeah.
It's like I like it. I
Okay.
like it. It's
Oh
fun
yeah.
to do, and it's once we get into it, it's good, but it's also Yeah, it's
Okay.
weird. It's a different energy flow than actually playing for people.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe in you guys.
But we are getting
Yes.
appreciated. We are getting
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
the appreciation back from people, and it's really great to hear and see
And you guys have done some
people.
smart things. One of the things I think is really great about streaming is that you get to like literally people are right there, right? And then you get to give them links right in front of them, right when they're most motivated
Mm.
to like it's like, "Oh, I'm really digging these people. I really love them. I would love to like support them." And like the you guys have been smart in like setting up a PayPal me account. I think I saw that. Is that right? You guys have one?
Yeah, we
Um,
did. So we've done two different podcast, two ones now. We've got a PayPal account.
so
We've got
smart.
Venmo. Um, but if people we did one that was said, hey, any tips you want to give towards us, please do. And the second one we did, there's a larger fund for musicians in the Southwest that this great organization out of Durango called I Am Music
I
is
am
putting
music.
together. I Am Music Foundation, and they
I
teach
am.
lessons and they bring music to youth and put on performances and they just help artists.
Oh, that's
Um,
so good.
and so we said, hey, if you want to put any money today for our second one, put it towards I Am Music Foundation's Artist Fund right now
Cool.
Okay.
that they're collecting for the greater
How did you
the greater good.
That's neat.
how do you distinguish the like money that's for this cause versus like money that's for you? Is it like a percentage or was it
We
like
did
just the stream
for
that
that one. We just put yeah, for that stream the link that we put was, hey, if you like what you if you like what
Mhm.
you're hearing today, throw some money in this to give this, here's the PayPal address for this thing.
Oh, okay. You gave
And so just
them
on
I am
yeah, we gave
music's
yeah, we just
PayPal.
gave them I Am Music's
Okay.
PayPal.
Cool. This is okay. This you guys are doing so many things right, Eric.
Oh,
Like
that's good to know
it's
because
it's
we're shooting
really
from the
smart. Yeah, like I
hip.
mean, you've created a net for people to like share the love, like if they want to, and so you're giving people the opportunity to be altruistic and like share love with you, and then you've also like paired with like a cause, like something that matters to you and probably lines up well with your beliefs, and then like you're putting eyes on that. I think that's so good. That's so good, Eric.
Oh,
uh,
thanks.
Mm.
yeah,
It feels important right now.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
we're in this global crisis, and to be doing things that are for more than just like, hey, me, I need some. Hey, me, I need some. Feels like
Right.
the right thing to do right now.
yeah, yeah. So good.
Because yeah, yeah. And it's a weird. It's going to be an interesting world to see where the music industry goes from this.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend post something that said, he's like, I feel like we're like all just a bunch of buskers on the most crowded
Yeah.
busking street
That's a good description. Well,
right now.
it's very well, yeah, crowded in like the when buskers get excited about how crowded it is, right? Like, um,
Yeah, but at the
yeah,
same time, like everybody, like that's all
it's
my
true.
Facebook is right now is so and so is live streaming,
Mhm.
so and so is live streaming, so
I
and so is
know.
live streaming. It's like how do you figure out how to uh stand out from that? And if we are in a place like it is an opportunity where like there's cool things going on right now where um certain people are curating these like digital festival sort of things or certain pages that are just like, hey, live from the living room. And so, and
Mhm.
I can post our thing to live from the living room, and all of a sudden, it at least scrolls by. If we looked at our first video, it was like, this has had 1,000 views, and we're like, whoa, that's wild. I don't know how many people actually turned it off of mute, but it's rolled past the Facebook feeds of
Mhm.
thousands of people, which is cool. But how do you stand out? It's like
Hmm.
there's so much going on right now, um, in like
Yeah. Yeah.
digital
It's
the digital
uh
landscape
huh.
of musicians right now is crowded. And so, which is awesome. It's awesome
It is. Yeah.
that the internet exists and it allows us to continue to share in these ways. And also from a like the one thing I'm realizing as I'm delving into this is my first time
Mm-hmm.
as really trying to treat music like a career is like, I was like, okay, this is a small business. and like we have goods. This is our goods and services, and how do we how do we get people to, one, believe that our goods and services, like, well, two, first see our goods and services, like have them notice them, and two, how do we get them to notice that our goods and services will increase their quality of life?
Yeah. Add value to their lives.
Add value to their lives, and I believe it does. And like that's the place where I feel like we are as a band right now, is that like when we get in front of people really like what we're doing.
Yeah.
We get very positive feedback from people that sit and listen to our music, and we're starting to get to places where, playing some venues where, like, I look out and I'm like, I don't know any of you, and then you all stood up and clapped when we were done. That's incredible, and it feels so good to share that kind of connection with people. But how do we get in front of more people? That's the game right now. And so again, and it's even a different game now when it's like, okay, there's this wall of digital people throwing their music out into the world. And how do you stand out?
Interesting.
And like, I want there to be, I think there's room for everybody who's, I don't feel like I'm in competition with anybody. That's like the weird double-edged sword there. I don't feel like I'm in competition with any other musicians. At the same time, though, like, how do we get noticed in the sea of guys in plaid shirts with guitars?
Yeah, it's tough. You almost kind of have to play. My favorite advice, and you're already talking kind of business products and things. I really like the advice from Simon Sinek. Have you ever come across Simon Sinek's TED Talks or TEDx's or other talks?
Not knowingly. I'd have to see his face. I'm better with faces than names.
His big thing is start with why. So his book is Start with Why, and it's kind of just saying, it's worth a read, but it's kind of just saying, like, putting your beliefs out first, like why you do what you do comes from a belief, and people identify with beliefs. Like, they divide their groups up in beliefs, and so being upfront with that, like coming at it like, okay, I believe and I see a world that has like a certain thing. Like, I see a world can be a certain way, and that's a part of beliefs. It's a part of why you do what you do, is because you can see this like a better future, or nicer, something of worth that's not yet. And yeah, I think that's like a great place to start. And I feel like the internet is interesting because it's in the normal world, as I'll use with the hand quotes, the normal world. You almost have to be like operating in like a general sense, like, okay, like I want to be, it's like, I'm going to be a plumber so that people understand what I am as a plumber and all this stuff. But like when it comes to the internet, it almost seems like a better strategy is to just be as completely specific and niche as possible. And like, when you're really, really niche, and like you're making like maybe like the smallest fraction of people incredibly happy, like most people will not get it. You're not making most people happy, but you're making a small amount of people very, very happy. That like really brings you in. And like whenever you're looking at the scale of the world and the internet, that like very small amount of people can be 1,000 people. That can be 2,000 people. And if you're making 2,000 people very happy enough to like feel like they give value and to like want to altruistically give to your music, and you're making more stuff for them, like you have a real chance of pooling 2,000 people's money to make a career, like, over a
Oh yeah,
year.
if you could,
Yeah.
there's like the concept of 1,000 true fans. I've heard. I think there's a book. It's
Exactly.
like the same thing,
It's
and
a
I
an
haven't read
internet
the book,
post
but just
that's
I
great. Yeah.
understand. I get the concept that if like if you have 1,000 true fans, like it's not if you have 1,000 people paying you $10 a month, like if
Uh-huh.
what you're doing is worth $10 a month to them, you've got yeah, you get
Yeah.
$10,000 a
That,
month.
that's yeah.
Pretty
Right.
easy
Yeah.
math.
Yeah. Pretty easy math. I'll leave that up to
And then
you.
all of a
Yeah.
sudden you're like, sweet, that is plenty for three of us. Like that's like if it's and so figuring out how to provide that value. And
Mm.
well, yeah, provide that value and just share in that way.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and connect because that's and like it's weird. It's this like double-edged sword where like I have a love-hate relationship with money,
Yeah.
and the
We
concept
all
of
don't
money, and
we
like I
all.
need it,
Hmm.
but I hate it. and it's so like, but I need it. Like the world that we live in,
Yeah.
I need money.
Yeah.
And so how can I don't but like it's about connection, but so like and
Mhm.
I guess some of my favorite, if I really let myself remember this, is that money is energy, and it's just moving, and like you can allow people to give some of their energy to you because what's like I'm giving energy to them and they're giving energy back to me, and that's the way that they can
Mhm.
do that. That will help my
Yeah.
energy output.
Yeah. That's a great way to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I've thought about that also.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just gonna kind of delve into the realm of that balance of like, okay, like, yes, I need this money, like, and I can transfer that in my mind into like an energetic kind of relationship, right? Which helps
Hmm.
me for sure. Because that's not what motivates me, is like my bank account doesn't motivate me. What motivates me is
No.
like quality of my work, and what motivates me is like its own beauty, and also the connection with people that I care about, like feeling like I am giving something of value. Um,
Yeah.
Hmm.
so I don't know. I just wanted to maybe open that up for considerations. For what does that balance look like for you in your like time and or like energy allocation for like how much time do you spend like marketing or scheming or like the gear for the live streaming, and how much energy do you put into like the craft itself and the practicing and the quality, and how much is, you know, creating something that you value as you, and that feeds you also, that is a nourishing like practice and engagement with your craft, with your music.
um Oh, yeah, if you find the answer to that, I'd love to know, the balance, because it's this tricky thing. Like, I remember when we were doing our first tour, and it was the first time, like, this is all new, figuring out booking and marketing and all these pieces, and I spent so much time on my computer and sending emails and making posters and calling and blah blah blah. I was like, I don't feel like a musician right now. I'm about to go on a tour and I haven't practiced in
Mhm,
days because I've been doing all this other stuff that's important.
mhm,
Because again, like if you can't, um, if you depending on what your goal is with your music. I mean, you say you get a lot of energy about from your just the quality of the product, the composition, the quality
mhm.
of the creation itself. Um, I get joy from that, and I get a lot of joy from sharing it.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
like, and so there's a piece of me that's like, well, that's also an important part of it because
Mhm,
just such an important part of the equation is, do people get to hear what I'm doing? And if they don't know about it, they can't hear it.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's where the marketing comes in, I guess,
Yeah.
is that like they need to know about it. If people don't know what you're doing, they don't know.
Hmm.
If you don't know, then you don't know.
Yeah. Having a clear message and communicating really well. Like
Hmm.
it's big. And like and like people, it's like people want to have a good time. People want to go out and have a good time. Like you're
Hmm.
offering people what they already want. Uh and like it's not self-serving to market well.
Yeah.
I really feel like
Mm.
pulling together like a team, like partnering with people who are better at that, like better at
Mhm.
marketing, better at um, business, better at all those kinds of things. Like finding a really good partner for like with musicians would be good. Like, um, hmm, I don't know. Maybe
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
reading a
how does
book.
that strike
I'm reading
you?
a
Yeah,
book right now.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, no, I want to hear about this book.
Oh, it's called How to Succeed in the New Music Business by this guy named Hari Herstand. And he's been geeking out in this world for a while in terms of marketing and how to do things. There's a lot of interesting information in there. But one of his pieces of advice was he's like the first person you should add to your team is someone who specializes in marketing and social
Okay.
media.
Yeah.
That's the first person you should hire. Honestly,
Nice.
like before a tour manager, almost even before someone to like do your booking for you. That is
Wow. I think it's true. Yeah.
probably the hardest and most important thing to have somebody who's good at
Yeah.
on your team.
And like the cool thing about that is that like you don't have to find an old person who knows what they're doing. You just got to find a teenager like that you
You got to
trust.
find, yeah, and someone who's stoked. Yeah, somebody
Yeah.
stoked about your band too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
Like,
have somebody aboard, you know? Like it's like the easiest thing to market something that you love. So like there is somebody out there. Like go approach a teenager and be like, "Hey, $20." It's like help me market and stuff. It's like do your Insta stuff. Like please snap me. I don't know what it is.
snap me. Hey, hey, kids, snap me. Do it.
Yeah. Put me on the book.
I think I just twitched. I don't. What happened?
Uh, I know it's intimidating to these younger folks. They're good. They're
That's
real
great.
good. I was, yeah,
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm learning how to Instagram story. I'm like starting to find my way around that world.
man.
It gets easier.
Oh,
You start to realize like, oh,
funny.
I could just like it is intuitive. But I get why as I've been putting together this stuff, like why I used to always think it was silly that was somebody's full-time job to manage social media for a
Hmm.
corporation or something.
Yeah, yeah,
To put
full time.
together a good looking, informative Instagram post, it takes me
Mhm.
like 2 hours. If I really,
Yeah.
it's like this is all the tour dates and this is all the thing and this is you
Yeah.
tag all the right people.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a chunk of time to
Man,
do that. Um,
man, it really does. Hey, we're coming
and
up on the hour.
ooh,
We can
Mhm.
like we can riff on another question or so, another topic. But then we'll close out here in less than 10 minutes, or maybe we'll come to a hard stop. I don't know. Megan, do you have
just screeching to a halt.
Wow.
I just
Well,
snapped, so I
I
don't
have
know.
I
one
know.
more.
Yeah.
I wanted to go back to geeky territory if I could for a
Yeah.
minute
Perfect.
because thank you for being excited about that. So one thing that I've noticed actually as we're talking going back to like different composing like writing for the instrument and like different instruments bring out different kinds of playing and then just even hearing you talk about uh what kind of things you're into and then having experienced like jamming with you and hearing that our tastes are actually quite similar, I think, as far as
Mm-hmm.
like the textures that we enjoy, the kind of chords, the kind of harmonic movement that happens, and what kind of space and balance happens in just like as music rolls forward. And that was, I mean, like, I'll say it, you're one of my favorite people that I've ever jammed with. It was like
Likewise. I
so
agree.
so satisfying because it was just like those are the sounds that I like live in. And so I wanted to talk about like where like what are those influences? Like where do those come from? Because I know we have some like music school backgrounds that might be similar, but like what are you listening to, and like what are you,
What am I listening?
is the instruments themselves that you did get the guitar and I did the guitar. We kind of delve into the bluegrassy realm, but
Yeah,
kind of
it's
in the
grassy.
classical realm. It's
There's
just like,
like everything Chris Thile touches is
oh
like it,
yeah,
like there's just,
I'm
and
in.
it's like in all of that, like that, the kind of like the, and like it's interesting to say bluegrass because they can shred on the standard bluegrass,
Mm-hmm.
but I love when when they're more out and it's like this whole new
Yes.
grassy
Mm-hmm.
goat rodeo stuff. I mean, that
Yes.
stuff. I'm so excited for the new album that's coming out.
Me
Uh,
too. Yeah.
when I love the title is probably one of my, I mean, so far it's my favorite part about it because I haven't heard any songs yet. But
Yeah, something cricket. What
no,
was
they're
it?
calling it's not my first goat rodeo is what they're calling it. Oh yeah, there's a
Mm-hmm.
song that came out called Cricket, but
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
the
good.
Something
title of
about
the
a
album
cricket.
is not our first goat rodeo, which is great. um,
Yeah.
but just yeah, there's that stuff, and you know, like the Chris Thile, the Edgar Meyer, Stuart Duncan, like
Yes.
that
I'm in.
crew, and
Mm-hmm.
like all that stuff they played, and there's so much space and interesting harmony in there that I don't fully understand. I should get my
Mm-hmm.
music geek hat back on and really like transcribe some things and start to figure out like what just happened there that I liked so much. But yeah, there's a lot of I mean, how geeky do you want to get here? Like there,
Let's go
like
hard.
on a technical aspect, there's just like see that's the thing is I don't really know. It's like I wish that I knew more of um what those textures that I like so much are in
Yeah.
terms of exactly what kind, like the note selection and the harmony selection. Um, there's a lot of chromaticism in there, like a lot
Mm-hmm.
of like, or actually this is a phrase that I've heard Julian Lage talk about in a couple master classes that I've, who's also a fantastic person to listen to and a big influence, is he talks about finding, just in terms of finding fluidity on the fretboard, finding pivot notes. And he's like, just like
Mm-hmm.
getting one note, either a high note or a low note, and having that note stay constant while you play, like it's a pedal tone that you're playing a bunch of other stuff around and playing with what the harmony shifts if
Mm-hmm.
that note stays the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that Chris Thile does a lot of that kind of thing as well. There's like one note and he's like moving it, like that he keeps coming back to as a drone and moving around chromatically around a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and like there is definitely like, I think something when I played with you that I've noticed is you mentioned, you're like, hey, do you like listen to or played a bunch of classical? Is there's
Mm-hmm.
sequencing kind of
Yes.
things where you're playing a little, just knowing your what scale you're in a four note repeating pattern, da 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 da,
Mm-hmm.
and little Bach esque
Yep.
ornamentation like
Balance
that.
like low and high in a
Hmm.
like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think probably one of the biggest things that I really enjoyed about playing with you is pulse, and that the pulse is everything. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can play, honestly, like you can play almost whatever notes you want to if it grooves.
It's true. It's totally true. Yeah.
As Joe Craven, who we both, that's where, who, yeah, he said in the class is like, notes are negotiable, pulse is not.
Yep. Yeah.
And like I really enjoyed that with you. Like we could create so much space, but there was so much, there's still, it was locked in of like, this is the feel and this is the pulse.
Yep. Agreed.
Correct me if I'm
Yeah.
wrong.
That's really nice.
I feel like I'm not like that good at, I'm not really that good at rhythm. It takes me a while. Like I don't know. I'm just like this. That's like the one of the things that lags for me. But I recently started thinking about rhythm like bouncing a ball. I think I'm much more like kind of physically tactile minded, and so the thought of like having a
Mhm.
ball only like so however so far above the ground and like bouncing it with your hand in the same place and like the rhythm that would create, like tap 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 tap, and how like it's never quite perfect, but it's like it has this like constancy, you know, like the constant gravity and things. Um,
Right.
and you can, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and like the way that you would have it bounce twice as fast is like, you know, it just has like a physicality to it that's like I think has really helped me. So I've like done this weird thing where like I'll have like a hand on the piano and then I'll be like having like bouncing like a phantom tennis ball in my right hand and like I've enjoyed it. I don't know if that's like is that a sensation or do you guys have other mental ideas for pulse or
Uh,
Mm,
I'm curious what you have to say, Megan, on that.
I mean, I think I lean on like dance. Like I rock back and forth a lot
mm,
when I'm like, especially when I'm doing mixed meter things. Like I'll have like when I'm in something like 7, I'll need to like I'll move my body around depending on where those like kind of subdivisions
ah,
are.
Hmm.
So I would say dance. But that's really cool thinking about that. And also honestly, it's kind of cool to hear about different brains grasping rhythm in different ways. That helps me as a guitar teacher, you know,
Hmm.
different students a way in because it's the same way in. It's not going to work for every student. So that's pretty cool to hear about. Just like, okay, try bouncing a ball or, you know, this movement or like, how do we visualize it? You know?
Yeah, I was in a class with somebody like that would give to Joe Craven again, who's fantastic. If you don't know who he is, look him up.
Mhm.
Uh, but he talked about when he's teaching fiddle classes, is that he doesn't sit down and teach them Mary Had a Little Lamb. Like he has them walk with the fiddle
Yeah.
and just find your natural
that's
walking
good.
tempo and move the bow back and forth at your walking tempo. People walk, most people walk at a
Mm,
rhythm, the
yeah,
walk in rhythm.
Mm,
And so like just
yeah.
walk around the room and walk around the
that's good.
park and play your fiddle and play it on the off beats and play it on the on beats. And just so the first thing you're doing is playing notes in rhythm. Um,
Nice.
and finding that movement
That's
and finding
great.
that within your whole body. We talk there's I've worked with people who had struggles like counting in and stepping into the rhythm and the
Mhm.
concept of like I think this idea came from uh Victor Wooten's book, The Music Lesson,
Ah,
which
yeah,
also, if you
very
haven't
good.
read,
Yeah, it's
it's
good.
so good. But the concept that the pulse is happening, the rhythm is going on
Mhm.
all the time, and it's not your responsibility to start the rhythm. It's your responsibility to join the rhythm,
Yeah.
Hmm.
and to like to know that song is happening right now, whatever song it's happening, and you just need to step into that rhythm and know where that rhythm is and step into it as opposed to being like I need to start this song.
Man, man,
Yeah, that's great.
I'm gonna close us on that. This has been an amazing, like, great time to hang out with you, Eric Shed. Um,
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks.
and yeah, is there anything that you want to plug? You can just ramble all the things for
Oh,
yourself.
just ramble of things. I don't know. Check out Birds of Play. Play. We're playful birds. Check out birdsofplaymusic.com and at Birds of Play on Facebook and Instagram and all the places. We've got some more music videos coming out that we recorded earlier in January. Um, Someday they'll let us go on music tours again, and we'll all get together and be friends over not the internet again, and we'll tour
Wow.
somewhere close to you. But yeah, check us out. We've got an album out on Spotify or all the places, um, and we're really proud of it. And we're hoping to get back in the studio sometime soon. We had some studio time booked in late April. Again, everything feels really up in the
Oh,
air right now in terms of,
yeah.
but hopefully we've got more studio stuff in the pipeline to get out there and get out into the world that we're really excited to share. We're doing live streams. If you follow us on the social medias, you'll know more about that. We're trying to do them a couple times a week right now. I guess I don't know when this is coming out, so that might be moot.
Yeah.
But
Well, we'll
for
throw
those
it
of you
on
that are
the
listening live,
yeah.
that's happening now, and yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
Nice. This has been
Awesome.
a HOWMcast. Visit homebase.com. That's HOWM base.com for our link farm and access to other cool musicians. Thank you for hanging out.
Yeah.
Would you? So that's that'll be kind of the end of the recording. We can actually say goodbye, recording, if you want to move over to the recordings and goodbye, recording.
Bye, recording.
Goodbye, recording.
Oh, let me save that.
I'm stopping.
Let me save. I'm going to save that. Okay, it looked like it automatically kept it. Okay, I'm just very nervous about that.
I know,
Would
this
you?
is like the scariest part. Like, don't fuck this up.
I know. Would you mind me playing maybe one of the songs of Birds of Play?
Oh, on the podcast?
Yeah.
Oh,
The stream.
yeah.
I'm capable
Play,
of piping that in. I'm
Play
on your
Fate of
website.
Saints.
Fate of Saints. Okay, I am. I'm currently
Fate of
on
Saints.
birdsofplaymusic.com. You can get their songs here. Looks like you can pay whatever price for this. Which is awesome. I really like that model.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is. Let's see. I guess I'll just let this run, not the full length, maybe a minute or so, and we'll fade out to that, and we'll fade that out and stop the stream. But yeah, is there anything else? I don't know. Well, I don't know. I think that's it. We're just gonna say our
We'll
piece
say
here.
that's it.
That's so good. Okay, Fate
Yeah,
of
thanks for
Saints
listening, everybody.
by Birds of Play.
John and Michael, both good men in their time. One the land, the other one just whines. John's hand is steady, while old Michael carves them lines. Fate of saints forever intertwined. John says to Michael, let's shape this valley wide. Michael turns to John and sighs. Maybe mighty, the realm of grace is mine. So it goes forever and all time. Oh, Saint Michael, lay your veil down. You've been rambling all through town. You know the Lord, swore her arms are open wide. Go on and run, or leave everything else behind.